sounds as if Steve Cooper, he's not going to have any time for the beach or rest. Sounds like actually that he might not be out of work for very long. Another Premier League team sounds like they're interested in appointing him potentially.
Yes, I mean, Crystal Palace are very keen. He's been on Palace's radar for some time. Interestingly, I was told that he was offered the job in the summer by Crystal Palace before Roy Hodgson signed a new one-year contract, and Palace still very much want him. Roy Hodgson's job is up in the air. I first mentioned it in this podcast 2 weeks ago. That's still the same situation, despite that amazing comeback against Manchester City last Saturday, despite that impressive performance against Liverpool with a very weakened team. Apparently, and Hodgson denies publicly that he's lost his enthusiasm or losing his enthusiasm, but that is what I've been told, that his enthusiasm for the job has diminished a little bit, and it won't be Palace sacking Hodgson. This would be very much an amicable departure and probably most likely bring the reins down on, or bring the curtain down rather, on his top level management career, just because of how football's changing, the VAR, the rules changes. Apparently, Hodgson's had enough of it, doesn't like it, and is quite keen to pack it in. So the information I have, and I think a few others have written as well, is Cooper is absolute top target, and Palace have been waiting for him to be sacked by Nottingham Forest, so there won't be a compensation. Some needed to be paid to Forest, and then they can make a move. Obviously, there's still to agree terms, all those kind of things, but that is very much possible and could happen in the next few weeks with Cooper being appointed the new Crystal Palace manager.
Well, you see Roy last week after the Liverpool game, don't you? You see his press conference after the game, his post-match interviews. I mean, he was literally at the end of his tether, wasn't he? He
was raging. I don't think you don't see Hodgson like that very often, do you?
No, and I mean, there's not been ageist or anything, but the Father Time catches up with everybody. And everybody has got a lifespan in a certain job. And that man, what he's done and what he's achieved, and the respect he's got in football is incredible. And whenever he does bow out, it will be on his terms.
Yeah. And I think the truth is actually, getting a 2-2 draw away in Manchester City for potentially the swan song season is unbelievable. And that shot of him after they scored the penalty, turning around to Pep Guardiola and laughing. I mean, you couldn't write it. I think that sums up Roy Hodgson to a T, an absolute legend. And
he just stopped short of patting Pep on the head, didn't he? There you go.
Yeah. And I think after the Liverpool result and how absolutely gutted he was, like you said, Paul, I think actually it was good for them. They actually got not one back necessarily, but there was something to cheer about in that front from a VAR perspective. If we look at Cooper, though, going to Palace, do you think that could be a good move potentially? I think if he walks in that job, I think they could absolutely fly this season, provided they don't have any injuries.
Yeah, I mean, they've been absolutely slaughtered, haven't they, by injuries. They're a very weakened team at Man City, same against Liverpool, and just about getting by on the bare bones, as Harry Redknapp would call it. I think they've actually got a strong squad, Crystal Palace, and just as strong as Nottingham Forest, obviously assembled in a very different way, and play and have played some much better football, I would say, in Hodgson's second reign compared to his first reign. So I think there's plenty for Steve Cooper to work with. He wouldn't be, having to lift them up from the drop zone either. So I think it's a very, very attractive job for Crystal Palace, and to go from one Premier League job to another very quickly would be absolutely brilliant for him, without a doubt. So I can totally understand why Palace would look at him. I think he's done enough in management, and he's still a very good age. I think he's 44, so he's got the potential to improve as a manager and be there a long time. So it makes complete sense as well from that point of view.
You've just watched a segment from Football Insider's brand new podcast, The Inside Track, with me, Lewis Pearce, alongside the guests on the show. Thanks very much for tuning in. Please do give the video a like, comment your thoughts on the topic, and feel free to share on your social media pages. If you want to listen to the full podcast episode, click the link in the description below. Keep your eyes peeled for plenty more content and exclusives here on The Inside Track.